G'day, it's Stuart DeBell here from Bell Consulting. It's Thursday the 7th of September and this is the first one of my winter crop walks for 2017. We're just east of Edgeroy at the moment. It's pretty early, it's about 6:30 AM and this is the first crop we're having a look at today. Crop of red wheat. It's flowering at the moment, which is interesting because it's been quite cold up here, you know. There's been frost over the last couple of days, so it'll be interesting to see how it pulls out of that. But you know, it's about thigh high on me and not that many heads, but what heads are there are quite long, so if they had a fall of rain now you may see it fill nicely, but the ground's cracking up, it's very dry and there's no rain in the forecast. Just across the lane here there's a crop of chickpeas. I'll have a quick look at that. So here's the chickpeas. It's probably the first field of a lot of chickpeas I'd imagine I'll be looking at today. There's not many pods, there's a few flowers on it. No pods actually. Yeah, just a few flowers. The flowers that are on it look like they're doing it pretty tough too. Oh, there's a pod there. There's a few pods in there, not many but just small ones too. It's filled in nicely though. It's not a bad looking crop of chickpeas considering the season. Anyway, we'll keep moving around. The plan today is to sort of do east of the Newell Highway, as far north as North Star. Just down the road a little bit further from where we were a moment ago. We're still sort of east of the Newell, about midway between Ballatta and Edgeroy. Maybe we're 10 k's east of the Newell, and nice field of canola here. Just about finished flowering. It looks pretty good, really, when you think about the season they've had here. I was just talking to a guy and he said, you know, 20 k's west of the Newell from here, you know, on the Milton Downs lease they've sown about 400 hectares of 11,000 allocated, so it's pretty disappointing, not very far from here. But you'd have to be pretty happy with the way things are turning out here at the moment. The crops are just hanging on. This one's variable, but yeah, as it stands you'd have to be pretty happy with it. Just at the east end of the Denny Lane now, still east of Ballatta, Edgeroy. Another field of chickpeas. Not much to look at really, it's pretty patchy. It's nowhere near as filled in as what the other field is that we were looking at earlier. It's a little bit better the further in you get, but not fantastic. Not a lot of flowers on it. And not a lot of pods on it either. In all fairness, I'm probably standing in the worst of it here, just on the headland, so we move into it a bit. Doesn't change a lot, sort of lower than knee high. I can't see any pods on it either, so yeah, it's just these flowers that will be doing it pretty tough with these cold mornings. A fall of rain on it now, like in the next 2 weeks, it'd probably turn it around pretty quickly, but at this stage of the game you'd have to say the odds are against it. Okay, just a field of wheat across the road from the chickpeas we were just looking at. It's about knee high and throwing a head out at the moment. No flowers on this crop, but yeah, it's starting to look a little bit spiky, but it's not too bad really. Like, it's pretty thick, it's a good stand, that's for sure. But yeah, like everything else I've seen so far, it's sort of hanging out for a drink. Any of the tighter patches in the field you can see have got the head out a lot further, so I don't know how that's going to affect frost damage. I did see a few heads sort of curled up a little bit in the other fields I've walked through so far, but this one doesn't look too bad, sort of a little less advanced than what a couple of the other fields are too, so I did take advantage of any rain that falls sort of over the next few weeks. Okay, I'm just east of Ballatta now, on the Croppa Creek road. I probably pushed a bit far east. I was trying to find a good landscape photo, but I'm back into some cropping country now. I did go up through a fair bit of grazing country, and it's really dry up through what you would expect to be some of the better grazing country around here, and it surprised me how dry it was up there. There's very little feed left. This looks like it's gone in on some cotton stubble. It's sort of not going to make it if it doesn't get any rain very soon. There's a couple of crops around like this, but not very many, thankfully. Most of them are sort of starting to throw a head up now. The area I've been through so far, it looks like it's split probably 50-50 wheat chickpeas at the moment, so that gives you an idea of how many chickpeas are about, if you weren't aware already. But yeah, there's probably maybe 5% of the crops I've seen are sort of at this growth stage, which you'd think is not helping the guy sleep at night. But anyway, I'll keep moving back down onto the plain and see what we can see. There you go, just when I say there's nothing but chickpeas, there's a whole bunch of wheat. This is the first crop I've seen just for a little while. It's just pushing the head out now. Looks pretty good really, like a fall of rain on it now, and it could be a 20 bag crop without any trouble at all. Still just east of Gurley. I just thought I'd pull up here. You don't see a lot of it. It's a bit of linseed growing here. It's pretty big block. I don't know, there'd probably be 800 acres maybe in the block. I don't know. But yeah, it's hanging on well. Looks like most of the other weeds that grow here, so I don't know how it'll yield, but plenty of flowers on it. It's actually, yeah, it looks pretty good compared to some of the other wheat I've seen just around here. So it's doing it a little bit tougher than what it was east of Ballatta. The country's probably split more as you get further north, more sort of towards wheat than chickpeas. Just east of Gurley, sort of towards the end of the Gurley Terry High Road near Coffin Hill. Just a field of wheat. It's flowering, just finished flowering around that stage. It's a little bit patchy. It's got a lot of patches through it. I don't know whether it's from animals or whether it's just the way it is here where I've come in. Yield wise, you'd probably have to put maybe 18-20 bags on it, I suppose, around there somewhere. It's not too bad. You'd have to think that it's going to be flat out filling any more than 3 wide at this stage of the game, and there's a little bit of disease starting to come into it too, so that may play a role as you go forward. Yeah, this is probably one of the more advanced crops I've seen so far. Expecting to see more of it as we get further north though. Okay, just between Terry High and Bendigo, just not far from Terry High, you know, a field of chickpeas. It looks like they've gone in after some cotton's come out. I just saw a mob of about 30 or 40 emus run through here. So I don't know whether emus eat chickpeas or not, but there's not much else for them to eat out here. The what I'm seeing is anything that's gone in on cotton country is obviously doing it pretty tough. But anything that's sort of on a long fallow seems to be doing it okay. There's wheat across the road. We'll have a quick look at it. Doesn't look too bad. Alright, this is just across the road from that paddock of chickpeas we're looking at. It's a lot less advanced than what the other wheat is that I've seen around here, but it's got a good stand. It's got a good colour to it too. It doesn't seem to be stressing too bad just yet. So a fall of rain would make all the difference, but it is late for here. So yeah, it really will be looking for that fall of rain. The ground's just starting to crack underneath it, so it makes you wonder whether they've had a little bit more rain here than further west, of course, not too far west. Righto, I'm about, I don't know, 5 or 10 k's north of where I was there a moment ago, at the corner of the Terry High Binnigai Road and the Gilbrook Road. It's a field of wheat. Much of the wheat that I saw over the last 5 or 10 k's was similar to the last lot that we looked at, so not quite as advanced as what I thought it would be, but not throwing a head out, unlike this stuff here, which is all throwing a head out in the middle of flowering. And realistically, it's not much higher than my knee to thigh, so it's quite stunted at the moment. I'll do a few head counts just to get a better idea on what the yield potential is on it. But yeah, look, the stand's good, but the plant itself's really struggled through this winter. So yield potential on this, yeah, it might be fairly limited. No disease in it yet that I can see, but anyway, I'll do a quick head count. Okay, I'm just south of Pally now, in the field of chickpeas. The chickpea wheat split here has been probably about 50-50 between sort of Terry High and here. Wheat vary from anything flowering to, not even a flag leaf on some of it, just still late tillering. The chickpeas have varied a fair bit too, from 6 inches high to probably this is one of the more advanced crops I've seen so far. Flowering right to the top of the plant, so there's a few flowers on it, and a couple of pods just starting to come on some of the odd plant here and there as well. One thing I had noticed a lack of right up until probably about 10 or 20 k's ago was there wasn't a lot of fallow country. I wasn't seeing a lot of fallow country, but I'm starting to see a lot more of it now, so I don't know whether that means anything other than there'll be a little bit more cotton if the rain comes through this part of the world than what there will be further south. I'm about, I don't know, 10 k's north of Pallamallawar on the county boundary road. I was driving along and I thought, well, it looks like barley. It's the first barley crop I've seen, believe it or not. It looks pretty good too. It's cracking up pretty bad underneath it. It's running out of moisture in a hurry, but yeah, it's not a bad looking barley crop. Most of it's out and head now. There's a few heads to come out. If it made it through the frost event, it should be alright. There's a little bit of tipping in it. Maybe that's all that was damaged during the frost. Just at Crubel now. Quite a lot of barley through here. After I said I hadn't seen any, most of the crops I saw on the side of the road between, I don't know, probably Milgai and Crubel, a lot of them were barley, particularly on the western side of the road. So there's going to be a bit up here, and they all look pretty much the same as that crop that I've walked into. Just in the field of wheat here now. The crops do tend to be looking a little bit better as I go further north here. They've obviously had a bit more rain up in this corner than further south and west. Just north of the Boggomildi Road, not far from where I pulled up a second ago, and yeah, this is the third field of linseed I've seen today. The other one was down near Terry High, and then another one near Pally, and then another one here. So there's a bit about the place. Like, it seems to do well in the dry conditions too. Like, when you look across the field it's pretty even. It's all sort of knee to thigh high where it should be, plenty of flowers and pods on it. Okay, just out of Croppa Creek. First field of paper beans I've seen today. Look pretty good too, chest high on me. Looks like it's finished flowering, plenty of pods. I'll see if I can get a look down in the plant here. So, yeah, got a few pods on there. Doesn't look terribly stressed or anything, it seems to be doing it okay. And across the roads, another field of barley. So, a bit of barley up here in the northeast corner compared to everywhere else I've been around today. Yield potential is probably similar as that last couple of paddocks we've seen too, so yeah, looks good, looks pretty good up in here. Okay, heading south again now, so I'm just about 10 or 15 k's south of Croppa Creek, sort of southwest of Croppa Creek on the Poppenguy Lane, and just looking at a field of wheat, another field of wheat here. It's flowering away happily. It's looks pretty good really, like you wouldn't get much change out of sort of 24 bags on this, I don't think, but it looks pretty good. You know, everything here you could do with a drink, just like everywhere else in the state at the moment, except for the far south, but it's warming up quite a lot today. It's surprising how warm it got, how quick it got warm. I'm just looking at the crop here. There's not a lot of leaf disease, but there's a bit coming into it actually. The flag's starting to curl up on some of it now. It makes me think that, yeah, just there won't be the protein in the wheat that a lot of people are probably expecting to see this year, just with the flag dying off the way it is in a few of these crops, but time will tell. Anyway, I'll keep going and see what we can come up with. So I'm northwest of Pallamallawar. In regards to the Newell Highway, I'd probably be 15-20 k's probably east of it. I've seen a lot of chickpeas through here. They make up, yeah, the majority, probably 50-60% of the acres through here at the moment. These ones are a little bit more advanced than the ones we've seen earlier on today. They've got a lot more pods on them. I don't know whether you can see them or not in the video, but yeah, a few more pods on them. Not a huge plant, sort of just under knee high at the moment. Still got a few flowers left on them, but yeah, it's a solid crop. Like, it's not a big crop by any means, but it's got a good establishment, so yield wise, you know, it's not going to be a bin buster, but it could get sort of, you know, 0.6, 0.7 tonne of the acre out of it, sort of thing, if it had a fall of rain on it now. A little bit of disease coming into it, not a lot, but yeah, there are patches here and there. But yeah, like I said, this is probably the most advanced field I've seen all day. Yeah. And more of the same on the other side of the road, on the other side of the creek, on the other side of the fence, on the other side of that road. A few chickpeas about. I'm just at the corner of the Kalimpa Lane and the Wongabindi road, and in another field of barley. The barley really seems to have kicked the goal around here this year. It looks good. There's a few, yeah, I've got to admit there's a few good looking wheat crops too, but the barley, I haven't seen a really bad crop of barley yet, so good on them. Let's hope it feels alright. The heads are probably a little small on this one compared to some of the other ones I've seen today, and just sort of pushing out of the boot now, so they should have avoided all the frosts and everything else, so with a fall of rain it'll fill nicely. So about 10 k's north west of Pally, and just more of the same basically through here, just chickpeas and barley, with the odd field of wheat at the moment is what I'm seeing. These chickpeas are probably a little better than the last ones we saw, a little bit higher, a few more pods on them, still flowering though, so yeah, still plenty of potential there, and probably a little bit denser crop than the last lot too, less disease as well. Yeah, just a better crop all up. But yeah, more of the same. Okay, I'm south of the Croppa Highway now, still east of the Newell Highway. About probably 20 k's, 15 k's east of the Newell Highway, so a little further west than where we were this morning. And one thing that does come to mind very quickly as I dropped back onto the southern side of the Croppa Highway was how much drier it is. It's distinctly drier. It's crops are smaller. It's the condition of the crops really go off as you come south out of the Golden Triangle and down into the Terry High sort of area. So yeah, into a field of chickpeas here. You can see the difference. You know, the normal size chickpeas where we just were up around the Golden Triangle was sort of 3 times as thick as this, twice as high, twice as many branches. You know, just a heaps better crop. Where, you know, what you're looking at here, you know, is potentially a failure at the end of the day. There's a crop of wheat on the other side of the road. We'll have a look at that. I'm just going to go a little further west to the Terry High Road and then work my way sort of southwest from there. So we'll just have a look at this crop on the other side of the road here and then head sort of southwest from here. So this is the wheat across the road from the chickpeas we're looking at. In that paddock's defence across the road, the chickpeas did have a lot of cotton residual in them, so yeah, it was probably a chickpea crop on the back of a cotton crop, which was never going to be good this year. And this wheat, I don't know, just only very short. It's running out of time to do something. Might make hay. I'm just down the Burrington Road now, off the Menador Road. It's becoming pretty apparent here that anything that was planted early is going okay, but anything that's planted late is not going okay. It's struggling quite a lot. Through here there's sort of average crop of faba beans, a little bit of barley, and chickpeas and wheat make up the bulk of it, as it has done right across the whole region today. As the day's warmed up, you can see the crops starting to wilt a lot more. They are doing it tough. There's not much moisture under anything out here. Just at Glenwarry, between Bladder and Edgeroy, just on the highway, in a field of canola here that's been pretty heavily frost damaged. If you look at it, you can just see the lighter pods. The estimate at the moment is somewhere around 60% frost damage. This crop was sown on time this year, so it's not late. The later stuff's getting hammered now from the frost, and it was stunted from the dry period anyway, so there's not a lot of hope for canola in this part of the world. The conundrum now is, do you spray for aphids or do you let them eat what's left?